Hello, I'm Dale Matthews, and you're not. I'm joined by Mike Jones.
Yes. Boy, what can I say that's kind of pithy and funny sounding? Let's see here. Hmm. I have nothing.
I just let him go. I could have jumped in and said something, but I wanted to hear him die on his own. Okay, that's real good, Mike.
Well, actually, that was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, it actually was. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious. Well,
Yes.
it's Thursday, and Thursday generally is the action day with plenty of action items in the meetings of the county commissioners, and there are two larger items and a bunch of really smaller ones. And today, just to keep you guessing and to be much more entertaining, we're only going to talk about the two of the bigger items. Isn't that
Mm.
refreshing?
Yes. Refreshing. Yes.
Okay. And one of the, and I guess you could say in the pause that refreshes, we
Mhm.
have the second item of the day is about Riley's hope. Riley's Hope. It does sound a little bit like a late afternoon soap opera, but it's not.
Wasn't
Riley's,
that the sequel to like Love Story or some darn thing like that?
yeah,
Oh no,
that's
no, wait.
exactly
No. That was like a soap opera.
right, right.
Ryan Soap. Yeah.
So, Riley's Hope
Mm.
is a group that was started by some serious people who are animal lovers.
Mm.
And they started this after Riley the dog was, I don't know, some people say euthanized, and others say put to sleep. The county killed the dog, and they killed him while he was in their uh, under their roof.
Mhm.
Okay, so Mike, do you want to do some of the summary of this, or do you want me to continue, sir?
Well, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about it. I did see some there was mention of it on Facebook. People were talking about it. This was some time ago. I want to say about a month and a half. Does that sound right?
That's about right.
Okay. And pretty much what I know of it is that the animal shelter ended up with this dog, and this dog apparently had heartworm and other things. And there was some people that wanted to rescue this dog, uh, despite its issues, and nurse it back to health. And too late, the county had already euthanized it.
They
Is that
killed the dog. Yes, they
they
killed the
killed it?
dog.
Yes,
Right.
yes. That's another way of saying it. Yes.
Well, yeah, all these different nice ways of saying it. Yeah, they killed the dog.
Right.
So, you go, well, okay, that was unavoidable. Well, according to these people, it was absolutely not unavoidable. And what they're saying is, look, we do understand that the county can't put extra effort into everything that it's always doing. But when they found out about this dog that was found that apparently was lost in the woods, and the county said, well, we can't find the owners. Now, I had a cat for 18 years. I didn't own this cat. It was more like the
Yes.
other way around, right? Right.
Yes. That's where it works with cats.
Right. But they couldn't find the owners. And so these people, it took them, I think they said 2 hours to find the owners. The dog had a chip. The
Oh
county
wow.
never could find the owners. And these people who are dog lovers, animal lovers, took them 2 hours. They found them.
Hang on a minute. Why isn't it the very first thing that the county does when they pick up a dog to scan it for a chip?
I don't know if it was the first thing that they did, but I do know they did try. They said that they tried, and they couldn't find him. Now, this thing about the county not being able to do it, but then volunteers can do it. Does that sound a
Yeah.
little bit familiar to
Yes.
you,
I
Mike?
was just going to say this is a recurring theme on this program as to how somehow you start drawing a government paycheck and all of a sudden you can't do anything anymore.
We did a live broadcast from the Ann Basker Auditorium for 2 hours on the same day that the county couldn't broadcast it at all. Now,
well,
your
and they
theory
hadn't.
was, Mike, why were
Uh-huh.
we able to do it with a cardboard box full of 2 tin cans and a string? I mean, you
Mhm.
really did bring some nice equipment, but it wasn't expensive and it wasn't new.
Right.
Why? Your theory was the reason that you succeeded because I was just along for the ride. I just provided the intelligence. You provided all of the hard work. No, that didn't come out right. You know what I mean. I just
Yes.
provided the comedy
Yes.
part of it.
I'll let
Why?
it go this time.
Yes, thank you.
Hmm.
I just say this for fun. Why is it that you were able to succeed when the county couldn't with all those highly paid people? You said.
Because I wanted to do it. Because I actually wanted the outcome that I got. And so that's why I was able to do it, because I really wanted to do it.
Now,
I
of course, the county was saying, well, we want to do things. Of course we do.
Yes. Come
Yeah.
on. Come
But
on.
now that's
Listen.
not working
Well,
out so well.
here's the thing. When you work for the county, there's nobody standing back there saying, "Get it done or you're out of here."
Well, that's true.
You know, and in most private sector jobs, that probably isn't said, but it's certainly implied that, hey, we are here to get this job done. This is the job we are going to do, and we are going to do it correctly.
Well, as you
And you know
mentioned
what?
once before, if you're working for the 11 o'clock news and there's no sound for the 11 o'clock news, how many times
Yes.
are you going to perform for that TV station when there's no sound for the 11 o'clock news?
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there will
You are
certainly
not
be
going to get
someone else.
you won't get 7 chances to do this.
No, there'll be someone else doing the job the next time it happens. Because if you went all the way through a program and with your leadership they weren't able to figure it out, you're done. You're
But
done
what
because
did you think about a general manager, one of 3 managers of that TV station that says, you know what, I think you should be concentrating on the slide carousel for the next 2 years instead of providing audio for the
well,
11 o'clock news.
yes, but let me tell you why you never see this take place. Because they hire the best geeks money can buy. I mean, the people that actually make some money at TV stations are these guys. They're the higher end of the tech crew. They keep all the equipment running smoothly. They're working on the transmitters and stuff. These guys are the best. They know what they're doing. They don't mess around, and you know what? They really dig their jobs. They like to do what they're doing.
Well, then it comes back to us. Here we were at this thing in the same room on the same day, and you were able to come in, you hook, boom, we're broadcasting for 2 full hours.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the most fun I've had in a long time, and that's pretty sad. I'm sorry about that, but no, it was a lot of fun, and we wanted to do that. That's why it happened.
First time in Josephine County history that's ever been done. We're really putting it out there.
Apparently, they had some issues down there, but they weren't dealing with them because they had been going on for like the last 3 months leading up to this point. Now, I believe that they probably got a little bit of backlash because we've been talking about this on the program, and other people have been talking about it and wearing T-shirts at the podium saying, "Hey, no sound, call this number here," and so they've been catching some hell about it. So they had a little bit of motivation to take care of it, and I'm glad that they finally did take care of it because last week went off without a hitch and the audio was pretty darn good. So.
It did. It did. Well, they spent a lot of money on getting this right. They spent all of our public access money. By the way, you never see public access shows. And what happened to all that equipment that disappeared? And by the way, now that they've got new equipment, what happened to that equipment that was old equipment and it came to the end of its useful life or some other?
Well, I do know because I did talk to one of the guys working there, and they said they traded in the TriCaster for the next model up of TriCaster. And the stupid thing about this is that they didn't need to do that, because
No, they didn't.
the existing TriCaster that they had would have handled what they had planned to do without any problems. And that trade-in, even with that trade-in, they probably spent at least another 10 grand on the equipment.
Well, it's not their money. Why would they care?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, well, we were talking about Riley the dog. Okay, so
right.
So these folks said, well, we were able to get hold of the owner within 2 hours. Okay, no problem. So they went to Diane Hoover. Now, this is according to the people that showed up. Now, it's possible that everybody could be a liar. We don't know. We just can tell you what they said. And there's more than one source for this, okay? So they said that they contacted Diane Hoover, who's the head of public health, and said, listen, don't worry about this dog, because we've got people willing to pay for everything. We're willing to do it immediately. We will take care of this dog and give it love and affection, and we'll be sure that it doesn't infect anything else, because it's not, heartworm is not transferred from one dog to another.
No.
And we'll take care of everything. And they said that, and see if this seems like a continuing theme, that Diane Hoover was a real pill about this and was upset with them. And you people you're causing it. What do you mean, you people? What are you talking about?
Well, wait a minute. Here, let me just stop a second. Isn't this the gal
Yes.
who pitied you for asking the question?
Yes. Right.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
What had happened was the county
fine.
had been charging companies too much for certain kind of inspections, too much, and they'd been doing it for a long, long time. So Diane Hoover pointed this out. Good. And what happened after she pointed out to the commissioners is I called her. Hi, Dale Matthews. You know, I was nice about it. And I said, boy, thank you so much for doing that. We really appreciate it. I mean, it's good to see that there are county employees who are really making an effort to try to be sure that the money is spent right and they're doing everything they can for the community, et cetera, et cetera. And I praised her like 3 times. And then she's like, well, yeah, right, you know, kind of thing. And I said, that's weird, because I don't even know this lady. And I said, by the way, just wanted to ask a quick question. Yeah. And I said, the question is, now that you found this out, are there any companies who are still being charged a higher rate? I mean, is it going to, have you stopped doing that immediately? And she says, you know, because of the kinds of questions that you ask, I pity you. Yes. Well, lady, I just praised you for being a great employee, and this is what you say? She said, then she said this conversation's at an end, and hung up on me.
Yeah.
Well, there's your public servant.
Yes, there's. She's obviously on that part of the county team that knows that you don't talk to Dale Matthews. I guess.
Can I even be nice to somebody? I mean, I was a sweetheart to her, and I've never talked to her before. How the heck do I know who she is?
She probably thought you were setting her up for a gotcha question or something.
That was the question. Are you still beating your wife? No.
That's right. Yes.
You know, are you charging people now? They probably are. Maybe that's why, I don't know. Maybe that's why she had that reaction. You know, well, no, we're still doing that in secret. I don't know.
So anyway, and
Riley the dog.
Yes, Riley. Right.
Sorry, Riley. Sorry. Woof. Okay. All right. So they said to this lady, well, you know, it's expensive. And they said, you know, we're certainly willing to do all of this. Now, people out in the audience, you probably know that when a dog's quite a bit older and you give the dog this treatment for heartworm, that it can be real stressful for the dog and might kill the dog. Well, okay, you've got the worst possible scenario is you kill the dog versus you kill the dog.
Right, yeah.
And they said, no, we're willing to take the chance, and we know for sure that this is possible because some of us in our little group here have older dogs that have had heartworm, and they've all survived. And so we'd like to do that. Can we have your permission, county health director, to take this dog in a temporary way and see that the dog is okay. That way it won't cost the county anything. Seems reasonable. That way we'll take care of the dog, give it love and affection. Seems reasonable. And that
Yeah.
way kind of take it off of, and we'll sign documents or whatever's necessary.
Right.
And what Diane Hoover said to them was, according to them, older dogs cannot be treated for heartworm. Therefore, we will not allow you to have this dog.
Okay. So let me ask you, these people, were they not the dog's owner? I mean, because you said that they found the dog's owner in a very short period of time once they scanned him. Is this the dog's owner that we're talking about?
No, it's not.
No. Oh, it's not. Okay.
Now, these people were willing to do it. I mean, we've had other cases where people have said, well, the dog was chasing livestock. We found a home for the dog in Idaho or whatever. And the response to those people was the dog was put to death. And we've had other people say, well, there was this thing about where the dog bit this, and we think that we found some place in Florida where the dog can go, and the dog was put to death.
Mm-hmm.
And so in this case, this dog had heartworm and had been outdoors, lost in the woods, according to these folks. And the county didn't know what had happened with the dog, and so the dog was put to death. Now, really, do you see a theme here?
Yeah.
Now, according to what Diane Hoover said, and I was at the meeting when she said it, and I'm going to tell you this is what she said, because this sounded pretty amazing to me. She said, well, they called in and they wanted some more information about this dog, but I didn't give it to them because of the privacy rules regarding health.
I was not aware that maybe, I mean, is it possible that this gal has human HIPAA laws confused with privacy as it relates to dogs?
Hippo, maybe that's what it's called. HIPAA laws for health, laws for animals?
I didn't know. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I am not aware of such a thing. I know, I'm painfully aware every time I go to the doctor's office that HIPAA laws exist because they force you to fill out 50 bazillion forms every single time, even though nothing has changed. My information is all the same. You know who I am. I know who you are, etc. But I was not aware that there were any such privacy laws as it relates to dogs.
When I go down to pay my satellite TV bill, they always ask me to show them my driver's license. I say, even if I'm paying for somebody else, why do you care?
Right. Oh, you know what you should do? You need to accuse them of attempting to deny you access to cable TV by forcing you to show your ID.
Oh man, some of these rules just don't make any sense. Anyway, so so apparently, according to them, Diane Hoover even said, you people, and they're like, what's this you people stuff? Yeah, well, you're just causing me troubles and everything. So Cherryl Walker got involved in this, and this is before today's meeting. She got involved in this, and you know how compassionate Cherryl Walker is to the public in general, and is always telling people how honest and trustworthy the public is. And
I know she loves children.
She goes way out of her way to be helpful to people, and so Cherryl Walker got involved in this whole thing, and then she's telling the people at today's meeting, and this is the second time I've heard her say this, you had, and she's telling them as they're sitting there, you you just raised all this fuss with your with your Facebook, and and she says, and it lies and distortions. Wow. And so apparently now I'm going to do the best that I can to try to sum up part of this.
Okay.
That according to the people that were there, they were still thinking that they were get information and had found a home for the dog and had collected enough money to treat the dog and done all these things, and were still in negotiation with Cherryl Walker personally, because she's the board liaison to health,
Mm-hmm.
and the dog had been dead for 4 days.
Oh my God. Wow. I mean, I guess they just didn't want to tell him that or something.
Right?
Doggy privacy laws. Yes. You don't know. You are not related to the subject of this conversation, so we cannot give you the information.
Now, Keith Eck wanted to know, well, why have you come before us? What are your goals? Now, if it was me, I would have said, fire Cherryl Walker or don't let her be the
Yes.
liaison to health. What are you, crazy? Now, I might have said something like that, but in a much calmer way, of course.
Sure.
The idea that Cherryl would be the public relations interface with anybody having to do with animals and caring is just beyond belief, because this has been a public relations disaster for this county. It's not huge. It's not, Hiroshima, but I mean it's pretty awful what had happened. And this whole group has sprung up. The group has a name, Riley's Hope. Come on. And now what they're hoping to do is get the county to be, I don't know, a little bit more reasonable. Nobody thought when they elected these characters, I didn't vote for any of them, but nobody thought that they would be in charge of life and death for plants, much less animals or anything else. What, really? Because they decide. Sometimes the commissioners are the ones that decide, there's no hope for this animal, this dog that chased livestock. He chased them. Well, he chased them, put him to death. Well, really, is that your one and only solution? It kind of seems like it sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I mean,
Tell
as
us what
I
you
have
think, Mike.
said
It's okay if
before
you've
on
got a
this, I
different
mean,
opinion.
somebody has to be in the line of command in terms of making these decisions, and ultimately, not every dog who makes it to the shelter is going to come out the other side, still living. So, yeah, this is an unfortunate circumstance, and I think that it may well be. Listen, I don't have any doubt that people working for the county are difficult and tedious to deal with. That doesn't surprise me at all.
But this time it resulted in a death, a needless death. These people were willing to do whatever it took. If they wanted to handle every animal that
Well,
came in there,
listen,
so who's going to blame them?
But it's not clear from what I've heard here that the dog wasn't already dead.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's the way that I told it. This lady said that she had contacted them like 11 days before any of this kind of thing happened. It kept going over there and trying to see what could be done. And she says she walked in on like day 3 or something. Diane Hoover saw her there waiting and threw up her hand. I'm too busy. I'm too busy. Well, okay. It's been a tough week, but tough weeks can end up in death. That just doesn't seem right somehow.
Well, you know what, and okay, so in this particular situation, if I'm reading this correctly, these people had the intent and desire to do all of this for the dog and were willing to take it off the hands of the county. Why they wouldn't let that happen, I have no idea.
That's what this is really about.
I'm sure that may be clear to somebody. It isn't to me from what I've heard and seen of this story. So. Wow, unfortunate circumstance. Unfortunately, you know what? I remember the first time that I went to start dealing with a building department to get building permits.
Yeah.
And the planning departments are notorious for being difficult people to deal with. I didn't realize, that when you first drop off a set of plans, they look through them, they red mark them. And then you're supposed to take them, fix the red marks, bring them back, make sure everything is kosher there, and then you're good to go. Well, the circumstance I got was I bring them back, and then they'd find new stuff.
Yes.
And this went on and on and on and on, and I'm such a new guy, I had no idea. So the last time I was really pissed off because this is taking time and costing me money and frustration and all this because I'm new in the business. And so I walk in there and I've got a ruler and I've got pencils and all that kind of stuff. I got it right there. Whatever it is that they tell me to do, I'm doing it on the counter right there. They're not getting rid of me until I'm done with it. And I said, okay, oh, you got some new stuff there. Okay, so if I do this right here, right now, you're going to give me a permit, right? And the guy said, yeah, because, I mean, what could he say? So I did it right there, and I walked out with a permit. And that's how you got to deal with these people. But it took me a long time to get to that place. These people, unfortunately, they're not like a business who have a vested interest in getting you to completion on the product. These people don't have such motivation. They don't care about that. And a lot of them get off on making your life difficult.
Now, speaking of
really,
that,
it's a sick thing.
Speaking of that, so here's poor Dan Lindstad who comes to the county with his airport lease, and he says, I'm paying more money for this new airport lease than I should be because it says here I've got 50 when I really have only 35 feet, some comparison like that. And he says, it says also in my lease that I can negotiate this. I'd really prefer not to pay for footage I'm not getting. And I know what was said at this, because he recorded the conversation. And Larry Graves says to him, the airport's manager, he says, well, you've been trying to F me from the beginning. It's like, whoa, and Dan's like, whoa, no, wait a minute, what are you saying? Because Dan's a sweetheart, and he was easy to get, he might be a little long-winded from time to time, but he was easy to get along with. He says, no, wait, you're F-ing me, F this and F that, and F this other thing. I was like, oh, wait a minute, even I'm listening to him going, what's the matter with this guy? Bad day or something? And later on, Cherryl Walker hears about this because Dan Lindstad says, I think I'm going to go to the weekly business session and say something like Doug Deakins, hooray for Doug Deakins, okay? Talking about Simon Hare and sex texting these girls. And so, and Cherryl Walker makes it very clear, and Simon joins in with her. We don't like it when people from the public talk to the underlings. Well, he has to talk with the airport's director, but we really don't want them talking with you. We want you to talk with us, and we'll give you the official answer. See, don't like it. So when these people came in and they said, we talked with a couple of the employees there, and they said, well, yeah, there's this little problem and that little problem, and that could probably be better. And the first thing Cherryl wanted to know, what were the names of those people? They were like, well, we've got kind of a list here of, yeah, well, why don't you tell me what the names were, and I'll work it out with them. And we've seen this before. It was so important to her.
Yes.
That was also
I will punish those people for even talking to you.
Well, it was also the last thing that she said. Just, oh, by the way, don't forget to tell me the names of those people that were talking to you. And, I talked to those guys out in the hallway, and I said, those folks may get in some kind of trouble because Cherryl is death on the idea that county employees would share information with the public. Now, so that's terrible for you to say. You know what? We've seen evidence of this. So, and their answer was, well, they're kind of reluctant to talk. And she's like, well, why would they be reluctant to talk? They should always talk. Everybody can talk to me. Why, I'm easy to get along. Oh, no, I don't think so. She's the wrong person in that job. She should not be related in any way to this. I mean, I don't know where you would put her. And there were a couple people in the audience the whole time Cherryl was talking. Every time she'd say something like, well, that's really ridiculous, and you folks are lying, and this kind of, they were like, oh man, there's no hope for this lady until she's been replaced in office.
Yeah.
Okay, now for those thousands of our viewers who are watching this with us live, I want to let you know this show is going to go a little bit longer because it's our show, and we can talk a little bit longer. And if you don't like it, that we're sorry, but we'll make it much more entertaining, right, Mike?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, the entertainment part. Okay, so we have a front page of this advertising circular thing that goes around to all the. We've got a front page for you about that, and in this case, I think that you'll recognize this story. But I really want you to take a look at what this, without the lower third, or however you need to do it, Mike, of what the headline and the subhead say about this story, which is kind of old. But go ahead and put that up there, Mike.
Okay. Yeah, it's there. You should be able to read everything as I see it there above the lower third, and of course, everybody knows the story of the little kid there who
Hunter
was
Camillo.
Hunter Camillo, who was arriving late to school because his mother couldn't get up on time.
So what does that say on there?
It says tardy policy gets resolved. Everything is fine at Lincoln Elementary.
What kind of headline says everything is fine at Lincoln Elementary? I mean, even if it's true, first of all, why is this story appearing again? And it's kind of like, well, everybody go back to sleep. Everything is fine at Lincoln Elementary. Really?
Well, hang on a second here. This isn't exactly, the New York Times we're talking about here.
No, it's an advertising.
This is the sneak preview.
Yeah.
You struggle to find stories of relevance that are going to get you to open the magazine up to see all of the advertisement that is packed within its boundaries here.
No, wait a minute. This isn't appearing on shelves of stores and you're hoping people are going to be attracted by the photo. It's sent out to everybody for free. What difference does it make? People are going to open it up anyway. It's not, well, gee, I don't think I'm going to buy that copy. It's a free publication.
Oh, that's not necessarily. No, that is not true. I can't tell you how many editions of this particular magazine came to my house before I even knew sneak preview existed. I mean, this thing would make its way into the junk mail pile with all the other junk mail, and promptly out in the out basket.
Everything is fine at Lincoln Elementary. So in the article, which starts off sounding like a news article and ends up sounding like an editorial. This guy got a chance to talk with not with the principal, but with the head of the school district, who assured him that from now on, students like little 6-year-old Hunter here will not be hid behind cardboard. They'll be put into a separate room to catch up on their homework. Mike, please tell them why it's ridiculous that they're saying he's going to catch up on his homework at 6 years old.
For one, they said he was like 2 minutes late. So
he's got to catch up on all the homework that he missed as a 6-year-old.
What did he miss in 2 minutes? No. Listen, come on. To any thinking human being, they understand what this is. This kid was being punished. He was being isolated. They bring him into a room where there's a bunch of kids that you could be playing with if you weren't tardy to school. And we're putting you behind this. And by the way, we're going to let your mother stand behind you so she sees how badly you're being punished for her behavior. And no, this was just stupidity from word go.
What a fluff piece, though. Really, everything's been resolved. Why everybody's happy. You know what?
Listen.
There's no
I don't doubt they made the national news, for crying out loud.
That's true. Well, this guy found out a little bit late.
Yeah. Well, and so there's no doubt that they've revamped their policy as it relates to tardiness. How about tell the kid, hey, can you go get your mother so I can talk to her for a minute, and say, hey, listen, what's the problem getting out of the bed in the morning? I mean, well, do you need somebody to come by your house and pick the kid up or something?
It was a very sympathetic article to the school officials, including at the district level. Why do you realize that we got so much publicity that we actually had to stop receiving emails? Now, why would you think that would be the case?
Well, I suspect that's probably true.
Because of your lunkheaded policy?
Well, yeah.
That might have... You can say that Hunter is... You can be
let's
all
take a look at Hunter.
Parents. Yeah.
Let's take a look at Hunter. Why is Hunter there? Well, Hunter's there because they put him there. That's
Right.
why
That's
he's
right.
in this situation. So, that's the name of that tune.
Obviously, it's the fault of the parents, number one, especially the
Right.
mom. Okay, sorry, mom.
And
And it's not,
stupidity
and
on
it's
the
not the
part of the
fault of Hunter, but
right.
it is also school officials that. What did they call this little setup of his?
Oh, yeah, that's one of the funniest parts of this whole thing is they referred to this little cardboard thing that he's behind as the confidential cubby.
Now, what is cubby really short for? A longer word,
Uh,
cubby hole.
Cubby hole, right? Sure,
It's a confidential cubby hole.
right. Yes, yeah. 30 days in the hole.
Right, and where he can catch up on his homework
Yes.
after
Yes.
being a couple of minutes late, even if you're 5 minutes late. With 6-year-olds, how much homework did they hand out? See, the thing is, it's so much bureaucratic blather that
Yes.
it's ridiculous. Just on the face of it, this little guy should look forward to a job installing plaques on rocks that are going to create 90 full-time family wage jobs.
There you go. There you go.
Jeez,
Yeah,
what a
exactly.
bunch of ridiculous stuff. Okay, so now we've got one more, and this is bigger than the others. Bigger than a confidential cubby? Yeah, it's even bigger than a confidential cubby. This one is what happened at today's meeting, the first meeting, the administration meeting with the county commissioners. You're going to love this.
Yeah. Now this one requires that you got to lay some groundwork for this because people aren't going to know what's happening here.
Okay. All right. So there's this thing that we have in our county called tax levy. Want me to be that basic about it? I hope not. Okay. So
yes. No. You need to go back to the beginning.
okay. All right. God created the heaven
and then there was light.
Yes.
Right.
That's right. Okay. So Cheryl Walker's been making some noise. Oh, no. She has been thoughtfully suggesting the idea of a resolution that would be passed by the county commissioners called Resolution 2015, Resolution 2015-15, in the matter of reduction of tax levy in federal county payment funding, blah, blah. Okay. If federal county payment, it's such a strange title. Anyway, the general idea is that because there are a number of people who now will not be voting for the levy because we received, as Simon Hare said today, even more money than the levy would have provided.
Mm-hmm.
That's
interesting.
Yeah, that's what he said. Now, I don't know if that's right because I wasn't sitting there working out the math. That's what he said in the meeting. So now there are some people who might have voted for that levy who are now not going to vote for that levy because they think, well, you know what? Maybe we got in the millions.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't need to do that. Now, Scott Draper, who's in charge of the pro-levy side, says, oh, that doesn't make any difference. Really, Scott? Right. Doesn't make any difference? Yeah. So when she wanted to talk about this at today's meeting, a number of very interesting people showed up. Now, these are folks that you've heard are just so swamped. They're just so busy. Their staffs don't have enough hours in the day. Remember when the DA, the former DA, was going door to door during the middle of the day and knocking on doors and asking people to vote for the levy? This was the same DA that said that there's just not enough hours in the day to handle all the stuff that he's got, and he needs a bigger staff. But he had time to go out and knock on doors in a door-to-door campaign. That's very time-consuming. Okay.
Yes.
So now, at this meeting, where they're talking about this resolution, her thinking is that people can say, well, look, we can safely vote for this because what she suggested was if the federal money comes in, and it looks pretty likely at this moment,
Right.
And you pro-levy folks have decided that you want $1.40 per thousand to go straight into law enforcement and nothing but law enforcement. And as some people say, nothing will be taken out for the ISF, whatever. Or as Cliff Thomason said, it's going to be both 10% and only half of 1%. Woohoo, we got it covered. It both cannot be true, Cliff. Anyway, she'd said, well, what we'll do is we'll make it so that if the levy does pass and we do get the federal money, that the $1.40 will be reduced by the amount of federal money that comes in.
Yeah.
And now you can safely vote for it. See, but here's the problem. So Scott Draper was just one of the people who showed up. The sheriff was there.
Mm-hmm.
He brought a staffer with him that's his budget person.
Right.
Connie Roach, who everybody knows is a staunch supporter of the levy and every levy that's come. Connie Roach took time off of her busy day to sit in on this meeting. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Scott Draper was there. Jim Moore was there from the Courier.
Jim Moore.
Jim Moore was invited.
A notable exception to the norm.
Right, and then he showed, and of course, all those people that came, they promptly left as soon as this issue was decided. We're going to tell you what the decision was. But here are all these people, they're packing into this room. They want to see what's going to happen with the levy. Well, Simon Hare says, you know, maybe we should table this. And people in the room were like, I'm looking to see what the reactions are. And they can see that I'm looking at them, and they're not having any reaction whatsoever. There's no expression on their face. Let's table this. Let's table this, okay? And so I joined Scott Walker out in the, Scott Draper, out in the hallway afterwards, and I said, Scott, because we're not going to be the best of friends. We're on opposite sides of this argument. He's on the pro-levy side. I'm on whatever the other side is called. Yes. And I think of it as anti-levy.
That is not negative.
No, no. So some way that say not you know, with the different than pro-levy side. Can we speak English? Okay, the anti-levy side. And I said, Scott, let's just suppose that 100% of the people in this county decided to vote in favor of this. What do you think about the idea that they now know that this $1.40 per thousand is going to go to the sheriff's department, but the county commissioners get involved and say, oh no, even though all the people voted on this, we're going to change it. And it's your citizen-driven initiative. It's not, but he keeps saying it is. And it's your citizen-driven initiative. How do you feel about that? And there's this long pause, and I think, well, I wonder what the pause is about. And he says, well, I wouldn't be in favor of that.
Yes.
And I thought, well, okay, that's kind of what I thought he'd say, but that's a very interesting way for him to put it. County legal counsel was there with his two assistants also. And I thought, this is really interesting. I went and I talked with county legal counsel after the meeting. And I said, Wally, is this legal? And he says, well, yes, it is. And there's this like long pause when he said, it is. And I said, well, but this is the will of the people. If they're going to vote for this, then who are the county commissioners to get involved? Well, yeah. And I said,
yeah, who are the county commissioners? Listen, the verbiage in the proposal is $1.40. So
right.
If the people pass that, who are the commissioners to come in and say no? You know, we're going to lower that by the amount that of money that came in. But
could they raise it? If they can lower it, can they also raise it? Can they make it down to one penny?
Wow, that's a very good point. No, that's a very good point.
But they're not involved with this, Mike. Now, come on, get with the program. They're not involved with this whatsoever, except Cherryl Walker just shows they're involved in it up to their neck.
Yeah. No, listen, obviously this is something that they dove in and, hey, we got to deal with this, because there's only one reason why this little get-together happened today, and that's because they perceive that somehow that this levy push is in trouble.
Yes,
it's in trouble big time, because people now think, hey, this money's coming in, we don't need this levy. I'm not gonna vote for this levy. So this is like an emergency measure. However, one should consider what happened over in Medford when the Jackson County, they said, hey, we're gonna pass a levy over here for the libraries, and it's going to come in somewhere between $1.20 and $1.60. Although we'll never go to the $1.60. That's just crazy. We would never do that. It's probably going to end up somewhere in the middle.
They really did say that.
Yeah, they did. They did. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating here.
No, he's not.
And then they passed, and then instantaneously they went to the $1.60. And people went, holy crap, my property tax just doubled here.
Oh, no, they said, gosh darn.
Oh, yes, right. That's what they said. They said,
yes.
Dag Nurbit.
Yeah, gee willikers.
My taxes are going through the roof here. Oh my goodness.
What's a williker?
I have no idea. But anyway, so we should be very, very mindful that if you think, I think what they're doing is they're throwing this out there. You're going to get a courier story out of this.
Oh yes, because Jim Moore doesn't come to these meetings.
Right, and the courier story. Yeah, right. The courier story is going to say, hey, don't you guys worry. We're going to lower the levy to account for this amount of money that comes in.
As a matter of fact, it's going to be so much money, it's not going to cost you a dime. Maybe we're going to pay you.
That's right. Yes, and then here's what's going to happen. As soon as the election's over, you will pay every bit of the $1.40, and all of the federal and whatever money will all be there, and they won't kick a dime back. Not one dime.
Okay, so here's a follow-up on that, because we've got a little clip for you. It's a very short little clip. And this was a fairly long section of this meeting. But it was over in like a couple of instants. I mean, I put in 47 seconds, but
right.
Boy, this was resolved quickly. Now, here's what we want you to watch. Number one is, note how everybody already seems to know. Nobody seems surprised at this somewhat surprising ending. Nobody seems surprised. And also keep in mind, you have seen our show often enough, and you know, if you're a Cherryl Walker, you know what is it that Cherryl Walker does whenever she's upset. What is it that she does? We've seen it a million times. She puts her head down,
yes,
and she starts scribbling at 100 miles an hour, and then she looks fit to be tied. She's always angry. You can always depend on her being like that. Now, you watch Cheryl's expression. Watch the way that she answers. Be careful. Now, watch this, because at first glance...
it happens fast.
Oh, but you can say, at first glance, you can say, well, great, they tabled this. Watch the way it's tabled and Cheryl's response, and then you tell me what's really going on here. Go ahead and play that.
They kept the sequestration last time at,
a little louder.
Uh-oh, hang on
just a second. He's going to roll it back. We've got audio problems caused by the county's audio.
That's right now.
It is the county's audio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's that's what it was, people. It's the county.
No, it came from their audio. Go ahead, play that.
Okay. Yes. Well, okay. Observe this.
They kept the sequestration last time at 10% because they didn't know what it was going to be, and really it shouldn't have been subject to that at all. So there's so many elements that we could be down to a lot less than some of the figures say real quick. So I think we just need to kind of be cautious.
Yeah. Oh, and I would agree. The least that we can do is just table this, let it go.
Yeah.
So we have some more direct idea of what we're talking about, rather than the positing possibilities and this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Maybe too early to tell. Let's see what the Senate says at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I had asked Mike about this before, and it's kind of unfair, but it is a live show. Mike, can you zoom in on her and play that again? It's very short, so everybody be patient.
I might be able to do that.
Okay, give it a try, and if it ends up zooming into the wrong place, then you'll get a nice close-up of her drink.
Yes. Let's see here.
Now, watch Cheryl's reaction. Keep in mind, she doesn't take defeat well, and she always looks fit to be tied We've seen her, I mean, it's not just, I mean, it's this week. Every time we see her, when she's angry, you know she's angry. Watch her expression. Play it again, please. We're just looking at Cherryl.
They kept the sequestration last time at 10% because they didn't know what it was going to be. And really, it shouldn't have been subject to that at all. So there's so many elements that we could be down to a lot less than some of the figures say real quick. So I think we just need to kind of be cautious.
Yeah. Oh, and I would agree. And just the least that we can do is just table this, let it go,
Yeah.
so we have some more direct idea of what we're talking about, rather than the positing possibilities and this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, maybe too early to tell. Let's see what the Senate says at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
Well, she did write something down over there.
she wrote it down afterwards. Victory. Okay, so
Yes.
now wait a minute. What's going on here? Really,
I'm amazed at how fast she went. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Now, some people that would be angry, but that's not Cherryl, because we watch her all the time. I see her every day practically. So what's happening here? So, Mike, why don't you guess for everybody else? I have a theory. Guess for everybody else what actually happened here, and why is it okay? Why does nobody look surprised at tabling this, and why is it okay with Cherryl the fact that this was tabled? What's the theory?
Yeah, I got a theory or two on this, but the one that I'm kind of sticking with is that, of course, now you had all these other people here in the peanut gallery who you can't see, Jim Moore being the most important among them, is that he's going to take this, he's going to print a story about how they're talking about this and that this is in the works. That's going to plant the suggestion in people's minds that, hey, don't worry, this is not going to be a $1.40 levy. And I believe that this is a very clever acting on the part of the commissioners here, and they did this all for public consumption, and yeah.
Nobody was surprised.
And part of it may be to gain. Yeah, part of it may be to, like you float a balloon and you see what happens to it, and then you figure out what your next move's going to be.
It's now safe to vote for the levy. Big headlines or something like that. Commissioners come up with wonderful plan. Now, keep in mind, they didn't say no. They tabled it.
Right.
So that means it's still alive. It's alive.
Right.
And so
it's alive.
and since when? Since never has Cherryl taken defeat like this so easily. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. What? See, we have to guess, because it's not like they're going to tell us the truth. I mean, you've seen this so many times.
Yes, pure speculation on it.
Right.
There should be a little ticker banner going by. This is the part of the show where we speculate.
No, wait a second here. I've touched my nose, so you need to see that several more times. With these microphones, I can't even touch my nose. What if I do this? That doesn't make the microphone go off. So look, here's the point. Jim Moore is going to write an article like it comes straight out of the press release, right? Commissioners decide to, help out the county by doing something reasonable, or whatever his article is going to be. But what we try to do is we try to look just a little bit further and say, now that was kind of interesting, they tabled that. But what does that mean? And you look at them, and because you are playing poker with these guys, and they're fleecing you. And you've got to look at the tells. And the tell is, nobody was surprised. It happened very quickly. They're all entirely in the bag for the levy. Simon says it's absolutely going to pass. It's not even going to be close, is what Simon has said. Okay? And then Cherryl proposes something and comes to the public and invites all these people, and Jim Moore is there. And is she publicly embarrassed in front of Jim Moore, who's been invited? No. Does she look embarrassed? Does she look angry? Does she look like... No. Now why would that? Because they had talked about this ahead of time. I mean, really, doesn't it look like they have? Nobody was upset. Cherryl wasn't fighting mad. She would, like she always is. This was a foregone conclusion. This is okay. Yeah, well, all right. I'm fine with it being tabled. No, something doesn't look right here.
Yes. Well, we're all going to find out together, but you know, it's nice to have the preview of this and the understanding of what the circumstances were in that room, which were abnormal. You know, you normally don't have all of these parties represented there. So yeah, there's something in the works, and hopefully, if people are aware of that, they can be watching the news and be one step ahead on judging this thing and how it's going to go.
Now, where could they watch that news that would tell them what's actually happening, Mike?
Well, your best bet is to come here at 7 o'clock at badcounty.com and watch our show, because you're probably going to get it the best there. You will get the inaccurately reported story in the Courier with errors that need clarification, which you will then have to come to us and get the clarification on. So you might just as well save yourself a little bit of time and come here.